What is going on, Multiversers? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another edition of Tony Tweeted What? If you haven't seen it before, basically this is the Multiversus news roundup. Everything that was somewhat relevant or important for Multiversus is going to be discussed right here. It's the Multiversus news roundup. So we got, I believe, 7 different topics to discuss. So let's jump right into the first one. This one is one of the bigger, I guess, stories of the week. So Tony tweeted this out back on April 22nd, where he says, fixing bugs and balance tuning. All right, so the game Multiversus, as we all know, is not officially out yet. So, you know, game director kind of tweeting out fixing bugs and balance tuning. All right, it's cool to hear, but there's got to be a reason that he kind of like tweets this out, right? Like, is there something to look forward to? And that's exactly what somebody asked him. Does this mean that everything for the initial release is implemented? Basically, there's everything for the game. Is it ready to go? Is the game about to release? That's kind of what this tweet from this person is getting at. And Tony fires back with a not for release, but for the next test. Now that's pretty interesting, right? As we all know, we've had 2 tech tests so far, and the next tech test, a lot of us are guessing will happen towards the end of May, maybe beginning of June, which is, hey, that's only a month away. So we could be gearing up. This could be Tony giving us that the little bit of a trail to let us know the next test, and hopefully console players are included in that, but the next test might not be too far away, so we'll have to keep our eyes and ears peeled for this one. All right, topic number 2 has to do with Multiversus release date yet again. So here's the tweet in question. We've talked about this topic numerous times, and the answer is always it's 2022. But here's the tweet in question, right? Tony, I need something new to grind, and as a DC fan and a fan of some such as Adventure Time, I'm wondering if there's a chance Multiversus releases sooner rather than later, or is it going to be a 2023 type of deal? Well, if you've been paying attention, you would know that Tony's told us numerous times, I believe it's still on the website, 2022 is the release date. And surprise, surprise, guess what Tony says? We announced the release date of 2022. The game has not been delayed. Look at that. The game is still coming out in 2022. I get that there's been no information, and some people will, you know, they'll expect or suspect something may be fishy, but how many times does the guy have to keep telling us the release date's 2022? We don't have a firm release date as in month and day, but it's still coming out this year, so we can be rest assured of that. All right, topic number 3 has to do with the character selective process. How do they decide characters? I believe we've talked about this a couple weeks ago, but we got another answer here from Tony. But before Tony, here's the question. Here's the tweet in question. Tony, may I ask what is harder for you guys, considering all the fan demand and the whole mass of characters available from WB? Which is more difficult, picking characters for the base game or for the updates/DLC? I'm assuming they mean which characters are gonna be DLC. Like, should we hold off on somebody for DLC? Because again, the game's not out, so we don't have updates for the game or DLC yet. But we understand where this person's coming from. What's more difficult, base character or base game or DLC update characters? And here's Tony's response. There's a lot that goes into picking characters, licensing, getting approvals. I'm assuming from WB themselves, like they have to kind of sign off on it, right? They player first games, they are using WB's property, so yeah, they got to get the approvals, right? But licensing, getting approvals, having inspiring gameplay possibilities, etc. We're always going to try to get characters that players want. So it's just a matter of hopefully all these different things can come together and ultimately give the players what they want. Hopefully the devs, and this is kind of important too, hopefully the devs can have a fun time actually making and creating the characters in terms of movesets, in terms of, you know, perk builds, whatever it might be. Just have fun, the devs, while making them, and then give them to the players, and then we get to enjoy them from there. Topic number 4 is all about more meme characters. All right, look, so here's the tweet. Tony, hey Tony, since you use the Ultra Shaggy meme for Shaggy's moveset, would you use memes for another character's moveset? That's kind of an interesting thing, right? we've seen Shaggy, and there's rumors that Ultra Instinct Shaggy was basically the reason this game was made. That hasn't been officially confirmed, but could we get more memes, more characters based off of memes? And Tony just says, we're very open to it. So who knows what might show up. Again, when you got to go through the character select process, like we just talked about, if everything can line up properly, maybe there are more chances for more meme characters. Anybody, let me know what sort of meme pick would you like to see? Would you, Shrek? I'm assuming that has to be meme right now. Anybody want to see Shrek? Just anybody. Let me know what your number one meme pick character would be for Multiversus. Topic number 5. We're going to be talking about, well, the ranking system. How often is it going to reset? Because it has to reset. Any game that has a competitive mode that has rankings and leaderboards and stuff like that, typically they reset after a certain amount of days. So that's the question here. Kal-El tweets, Tony. Hey, Tony, I wanted to ask if the ranking system fully resets at the end of a season or year, kind of like Smite. Also, will there be exclusive skins for only competitive for those who hit a certain rank? That's an interesting point. I never thought about that. Skins for competitive who hit, like, say, top 10 in the world. Make some very exclusive skins. I don't know if a free-to-play game wants to necessarily go down that route where a lot of the player base might feel like, hey, wait, that's a really cool skin. I want access to it. But maybe my skills aren't good enough, so I don't know if that's a great idea, but it's still an interesting question, right? How often is the ranks going to reset? Here's Tony's response. We're still trying to figure that out. Well, the specifics here. So, and then he actually asked us, do we have a preference? So the way that if I should have replied to this, and I would have said, is whatever length, we know the game's going to have battle passes. So whatever length the battle pass is, say it's 3 months, for example. Say a battle pass lasts for 3 months. I think the rankings should be somewhat reset, like a soft reset. Maybe you kind of like go back to default. You got to play a few qualifying matches online to kind of get your rank back, and then you can climb the leaderboards for the next season. But I think it definitely should reset every set amount of time, and I believe maybe like possibly 3-4 times a year it should reset. That way it's kind of, you got that refresh point, something to look forward to, like, oh, rank reset's coming up, I got to get my rank back, or I got to get my rank up. Because again, remember the tweet I just talked about where they said, where Kal-El asked about competitive skins for maybe players that reach a high enough point? Maybe they do that and put that into the game. Well, then some people might really try to grind towards the end of a season to get their rank up there to ultimately hit that goal to get a competitive skin for free or whatever it might be. So we'll have to wait and see. But Tony, right now for rank reset, he's open to suggestions. Moving on to topic number 6, back with Kal-El again. Kal-El asking phenomenal questions. This is like the 3rd or 4th straight week that Kal-El's been featured. Good stuff, Kal-El. I don't know if you watch this, but great questions you've been asking out there, man. Buddy, whoever you are, I don't know who you are, but good questions nonetheless. Either way, here's the next one. This one has to do with disconnecting and like a quit penalty, right? There's got to be something for that, right? So here's the tweet. Hey, Tony, will there be a disconnect/quit penalty? What about if your teammate deliberately throws the match? Would there be a report option? Also, if someone leaves the match, would there be a bot or even a pause feature to help allow the player to reconnect in time? Now, that could be an interesting one. I don't know how they... I would hope at the very minimum, I know a bot might not be the best case scenario, but if you jump online and you do a 2v2 real quick and you're playing with a random and the random disconnects, 3, 2, 1, go, and then your teammate just disconnects, well, then you're now at a 2-on-1 disadvantage for the entirety of the fight. I'm hoping at least a bot immediately takes the place of, your teammate. That way you're not left in a 2v1. Again, bots might not be the best way to approach it, but at least it's something and you're not going to be left there kind of going, oh, well, there's no point in kind of playing this one. So yes, there definitely needs to be something. And well, here's Tony's response. Yes to all of that. So basically, yes, there is going to be a penalty for disconnecting or like rage quitting. Going to be a penalty. I don't know if you'll be banned for a certain amount of time. Like, you quit, quit out of a match before it finishes, and so you get like a 5-minute penalty. Can't play online for 5 minutes. All right, do it again in the next hour or something like that. All right, then it gets bumped up to 15 minutes, and then half an hour, and then an hour, and then it keeps going up and up until you like just ultimately get banned if you do it too much, because why play a game if you're just gonna rage quit? I don't know. Some people do it, but yes, they got all this stuff planned and in place, which is great to hear. And the final topic of the video has to do with when can we expect more news? This is always the question. We covered it last week. We're going to cover it this week. Might cover it again next week. That's always the question for Multiverses. When are we getting more news? So here's the person. They're kind of asking about it, but not really. Here's the tweet. Hey boss, Tony of Multiverses. When can we expect more news? Fiending to hear about my most anticipated game of the year. I'm right there with you. Multiverses 100% is my most anticipated game of the year. Agree with that. So here's Tony's response. Thanks for looking forward to the game. News? Soonish. Just like last week, he said Soonish. So, again, what is Soonish in video game time? Is that in a month? Is that 2 weeks? Is that 3 months from now? Who knows what Soonish is, but at least he's putting it out there instead of, yeah, news is coming, because that essentially, a response like that is basically not giving anything, but news Soonish, at least it's kind of better than nothing, but it's still ultimately not really much, but it's still kind of something. So soonish, maybe within the next month. Who knows what the definition of soonish really means in video game terms, but news will be coming soonish. Either way, that is going to be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed as always, and I guess I'll see you when I'm looking at you.